Welcome into AZ Audibles. Haley Stasiak, Jordan Ham, and Eric Sorensen here. We are in the last week of the 2017 high school football season. Wrapped up 2A and 3A state last weekend, and then the season will end with 6A through 4A championships this week. Let's go back and look at those 3A, 2A championships. Jordan, you were at that Castile Push Ridge game.
Yeah, and it was a really good performance by the Colts. It was a 35-28 game, but I felt like for the most part they really had control of that game. Two of the touchdowns that Push Ridge scored were from short fields, from turnovers that Castile had, and they really stepped up against a very good Push Ridge run game. And then what else can you say about Gunnar Cruz? The guy has a huge arm. He did have an interception, but he was able to really just spread the ball around. And then Kaheem Waleed had 2 touchdowns as a receiver. He's a big target, and that's the thing about this Castile team. They are in 3A. They're making the jump to 5A, but I think they have the bodies in quantity, but also the size to really be able to compete at the next level.
Congratulations to the Colts, one of the most consistent teams in the entire state. They started the season so strong, definitely ending it on a high note with the state championship.
Thatcher won their second state championship in a row in 2A with a win over Santa Cruz Valley. 28-27 was the final there. Congratulations to the Eagles. In 6A now, we've got an exciting matchup between Chandler and Perry. Chandler beat Perry 55-27 in the regular season. What kind of advantage does Perry have in this game?
Well, it's tough to beat a team 2 times in the same season. That's the biggest thing. Looking at this matchup on paper, it'll be interesting to see. You mentioned the 55 points allowed. How will Perry's defense adjust to Chandler's high, potent offense? And not only that, guys, Chandler has been on the big stage, and they've won on the big stage. This is going to be a new experience for Perry, playing in a big college stadium with all the eyeballs on them, and it'll be curious to see how Coach Jones and the Perry Pumas respond on the biggest stage. I guess it's only fitting that the highest classification championship involves the toughest section in the state, the premier section, with 2 of the best teams coming from that area.
And I think it's the 2 best teams in 6A. I think that's the same case for 5A as well. I think the 2 best teams are playing in the state championship. If Perry wants to win this game, though, they're going to have to limit Gunnar Romney, the wide receiver, BYU commit. He has 11 touchdowns in his last 5 games.
Wow.
200-yard performances as well. Just been absolutely dominant. Actually, in all the games that he's played, he was out a couple games due to injury, but in all the games he played, he had the least amount of yards against Perry. They limited him to just 40 yards, but Drake Anderson to Carlos Brooks was able to run for 360 yards against them. So that's the problem. You stop Gunnar Romney, and there are 5 or 6 other guys that can really make plays, especially Jacob Conover in the air and on the ground as well.
It's really a pick your poison when it comes to that Wolves offense.
Absolutely.
In 5A, Notre Dame Prep Centennial. You guys have both seen a lot of these teams this year. Jordan, what are your keys to this game?
Well, it's going to be down in the trenches. These 2 teams have 2 of the best offensive lines and defensive lines. So it's obviously going to start there. And then also 2 very strong running games between the 2 of them, with Cole Fisher and Jake Smith for Notre Dame, and then Zidane Thomas and Alex Escobar for Centennial. So I think this is going to be an absolute slugfest. I think that this is probably the toughest game to pick. This is the 2 most evenly matched teams. I'm expecting a really good one on Saturday.
This is my favorite matchup of the 3 games on Saturday. The thing to keep an eye on for me is who turns the ball over less. Both of these teams have only 9 turnovers in 13 games. And again, it comes back to the experience of Centennial trying to avenge that close loss in the title game last year to Williamsfield. And the Saints, who I really believe are sort of a team of destiny. They've just found a way to win games. They've won, I think, the last 2 games by a combined 6 points in the playoffs. There's something about having won close games that can pay off big time in championships.
And one thing to watch as well, Centennial, it seems like every single game there's a big special teams play for them, whether it's a big return, a blocked kick, that sort of thing. So watch the special teams in this game. I think that's going to be crucial as well.
And last but not least, in 4A, we've got South Point Catholic Saguaro. You've got a very high-powered run game with Bijan Robinson and South Point Catholic. You've got a pretty balanced team in Saguaro.
I don't know if it was a bit of gamesmanship by Jason Mons, but he actually believes the SaberCats, who are going for their 5th consecutive state championship, are the underdogs against South Point. The last time the Lancers played at the University of Arizona Stadium in a championship game, they blew out Jordan's alma mater, the Chaparral Firebirds, back in 2014. This game, to me, comes down to the lines. We all know about Mateo Mele and that big physical line that South Point has. Jason Mons' squad on the other side, he's had to develop some guys, but they seem to be gelling at just the right time.
Yeah, there's a ton of weapons on this Saguaro side, and a lot's been made about making the trip down to Tucson, whereas Sal Point has about a 7-mile drive.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, but one thing to take note, the 4 state championships that Saguaro has won, 2 of those were down in Tucson. So Jason Mons and this staff know how to accommodate the players to make sure that they're focused for this game. Obviously, the huge thing is going to be the run game for Sal Point Catholic. Drayson Hall last week against Saguaro was able to rush for over 200 yards. But like you said, I think this defense is really starting to come together. All the pieces are coming together for Saguaro. It should be a really good game on Saturday.
6A through 4A state championships in Tucson at Arizona Stadium on Saturday. Looking forward to all of those matchups. And again, congratulations to your 3A champs, the Castile Colts, and your 2A champs, the Thatcher Eagles. That's what we've got for you on AZ Audibles. Be sure to tune in to sports360az.com for all of your state coverage. We'll see you next time.